Hello, buddy. My name is Patrick Young. I'm a retired school teacher from Fresno Unified. I taught world history, world culture, geography, world religions, all the social sciences. I also taught without credentials Spanish and English because I speak Spanish. And basically, let you do anything. Fresno Unified is corrupt as fuck. They will let people who have no credentials work in the classroom. I want to share my thoughts today on what's going down with all the Somalis getting busted. Remember something, this government has never been against drug smuggling. The CIA has been working with drug traffickers since the time of Chiang Kai-shek. Chiang Kai-shek in China was the warlord that Mao Zedong overthrew. Chiang moved heroin, mostly probably obtained from the high footlands of Laos and Burma. The CIA had no problems with Chiang Kai-shek and later the South Vietnamese government selling buku smack to GIs. The stuff was taken from the hills of Southeast Asia, moved to Singapore and Hong Kong to be processed from morphine base into pure W globe heroin. I got a lot of friends from Vietnam that did that good stuff. You get a horse cap for $5. So good you don't have to inject it. Just snort it or smoke it. The next time that I recall, let me think. Next time I recall, let's see, that was 50s. Mao took China in what, 49? Moving forward to Southeast Asia. Nguyen Van Tu and Nguyen Cao Ki. Nguyen Van Tu was head of the army. Nguyen Cao Ki was a corrupt peacock that was head of the Air Force and used the Air Force to transport tons, literally tons of gold, heroin, and automatic weapons. It was like triangle trade. They would trade guns for money, money for guns, and drugs for all three. The next time I know the United States was involved in smuggling cocaine was during the war in Nicaragua. I've been in Nicaragua 9 times during the war. I met Dora Maria Tejas and Padre Miguel de Escoto. Dora was head of health services, and Padre Miguel, I also know his nephew Patrick. Padre Miguel was the minister of the exterior. You know, like he's like a foreign minister, etc. So, United States was running coke, probably grown in Colombia, into Honduras, Tegucigalpa Air Base, and also I think Yopango in El Salvador. Martha Honey and Tony Obregon discovered this, and the CIA sent their home package of cocaine in order to implant them, as if they were doing some work, and they weren't. They also were there at the La Penca bombing when they tried to kill Comandante Zero. He was a Contra that didn't want to go along with the other Contras, so we tried to kill him. The next time, let's see, that was in the 70s, 72, 73. Actually, Revolution was 72. It continued from 72 to 75. They also had Freeway Ricky Ross involved in LA. The next time that I can recall was when the United States was working with the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. The Mujahideen are poppy growers, and they grew a bunch of, poppies, scratched 3 sides, sucked the sap off, and turned into morphine and heroin. The CIA protected the fields in Afghanistan. That's 4 times that the United States government has been involved in narcotics traffickers. We have never had a problem with drugs nor terrorism because we moved buku drugs, and the United States has been involved in terrorism since, oh God, since the turn of the century. The fake invasions of Cuba, the incident with the Maine, in Nicaragua, the revolutionary leader, Augusto Sandino, was invited to dinner by Anastasio Somoza Debayle, who was a sergeant that we made dictator. The Somoza family owned 3/4 of the country. He said, Nicaragua es mi finca. And I said, I'll say it in English, I don't want scholars, I want burros. So getting back to the topic of why everybody's getting hardcore on the Somalis. Think for a minute. Who benefits from the Somalis not being out of business? Duh, other drug traffickers. This looks like a big push by the U.S. government, but it's just as likely as a big push from the Sinaloa boys. I think they're heading this are like DCNG or some shit. I don't remember. I don't give a fuck. So the upshot of this video is pretty simple. The United States is looking like we're getting all hardcore on drugs. But who's making money and who's not? Of course, the Somalis. Somalis, fuck you, you leeches. I've never said it before, but go back where you came from, you assholes. Ilhan Omar and Snuggly with Tampon Tim. You're corrupt pieces of shit. I used to be radical left. You embarrass me. You embarrass me, you pieces of crap. Excuse me. That was a good burp. One of the easiest things to know in politics is called follow the money. Same thing with the 9/11 bombing. Who got rich off that and who suffered? Saddam Hussein was our boy. He had nothing to do with the bombing. That was just a good way for Microsoft, IBM, General Dynamics, Northrop, Boeing to make huge fortunes off the war in Iraq, taking over the Iraqi oil fields and selling it on the world market. Follow the money, fools. So in conclusion, I would say that we need to take a jaundiced eye, a careful eye, at exactly who benefits from all this dope trafficking. Dope repression. And furthermore, in case you want to question my credentials, I'll say bite me. I've been to Mexico 25 times. I've driven through Mexico 25 times. I've crossed border in Tijuana, Mexicali. I usually cross to Reynosa. Reynosa is the Mexican side of McAllen, Texas, and far. I've driven the Gulf Coast, Central, and the Baja Coast. So I visited, he visitado Guatemala 9 veces, Honduras 9 veces, Nicaragua 9 veces, Belize 2 times, Costa Rica once, Panama once, went to Cuba. Cuba was pretty interesting. Their beer sucked. If only Fidel knew the beer was bad, he'd fix it. Yeah, right. Furthermore, I've been to Panama twice, been to Peru 3 times, had a hottie there. She was one of the shit. And the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, already included Cuba. A good buddy of mine is Kevin Pina. Kevin won a Academy Award for his documentary called In the Name of Democracy. Kevin's a hardcore boy. He's a badass. He's been jacked many times in Haiti. Not me. We cover the military coup against Jean-Bertrand Aristide. United States put their boys on the Dominican border with a bunch of hardcore high-powered weapons, and then made a bunch of noise like they were going to invade. And Clinton did not give the Haitian police anything but handguns. Clinton's got no balls. When we were supposed to go back and put Jean Bertrand back in power, a bunch of Haitians got on the docks and waved guns. And the big ass Navy boats turned around. Oh my God, there's 130 skinny people waving guns. Let's go back to Florida. I should, of course, mention, what's that little place, Grenada? What a phony bunch of shit, good Lord. Grenada was enlarged in the airport, helped by Cuba, but it had nothing to do with Grenada being a source of terrorism. Oh my God! Remember Reagan? What was like Operation Freedom? Oh, I must have came 3 times watching the newsreels. I speak English, of course, fluently. I'm an English teacher. Hablo español también. Yo fui maestro por muchos años en escuela secundaria at Fresno High. My Spanish is pretty good, but I never taught more than Spanish 1 and Spanish 2. They fired me at Fresno High. Fuck you, Bob Reyes, you non-Filipino speaking white boy. Bob Reyes has no balls. Yeah, Bob, you have no balls. Smooth between the leg and rubber. I have visited 43 countries and lived in Germany for 2 years as a soldier. I got 49,000 miles on the Autobahn. It was M35A2. That's called Deuce-Snap by civilians. We all call it Deuce-Snap, but it's technically an M35A2 made by American Motors and other manufacturers. Has a multi-fuel engine. Don't try to put other shit beside diesel. It won't run. The countries I visited in no particular order are Canada, the U.S., Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama, Belize, Central, all the islands in the Caribbean, and United Kingdom, which sucked, rude fucks. Belgium, Luxembourg, Holland, no Denmark, New Scandinavia. Been to France for a beer. Me and my ex-wife Junko went to Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and Turkey. Turkey kicked ass, her friendly Muslims. Good transportation too. From there we went to Germany, went saw the Berlin Wall, which was very, very cool. And then from there we got to rent a car, went from Kaiserslautern to Berlin, and then from Berlin onward to Warsaw, Poland. The Poles were very friendly. Of course, we visited the death camps, dipshit. And then from Poland, we had a hard time. We got a train from Warsaw to Brest. Oh, baby. Went from Brest to Minsk by taxi, believe it or not. Tickets were like 19 cents. But the freaking Russians were shoving and pushing. I had to knock a guy on his ass. He kept crowding the line. So instead of taking the train from Minsk to Moscow, we took a taxi. It was a killer. The taxi was $20 for 400 miles. And what was interesting was there's no Essos and no Chevrons. And when the guy needed fuel, he'd just pull over. There was a network of pipes coming out of the ground. He'd just stick this filler in his tank, fill up probably for free. So we drove from Minsk to Moscow, and Moscow took the Trans-Siberian through Mongolia. Let's see, so Ulaanbaatar. I said, what the fuck is Ulaanbaatar? Ulaanbaatar means red Ulan in some language. I don't give a fuck. Shit. Oh, fuck it. So continuing on, when we were taking the train on the Trans-Siberian, it was only $4, believe it or not, because the ruble had crashed. People would give you, ruble was worth $2. When we got there, it was worth 1/2 cent. So you flash a dollar, they go crazy. They give you, 200, 300. They didn't care how many rubles they gave you, because it was big money back in the time when ruble had collapsed. Best thing about Moscow was meeting a bunch of Armenians, big hairy guys hitting a joint. I walked up. I had a 24-pack. Milwaukee's the best I got in the Moscow train station. To my amazement, I walked up to the Armenians and I said, "Hey, man, smells good." And they said, "What's up, homeboy?" And we did our gibberish best we could, and I said, Fresno, oh, Fresno, we love you, because Fresno is the world capital of Armenia, as far as I know. Fresno, LA. So, being Armenians, they took a lot of my beer. I traded a lot of, probably 7 beer. Got myself a little package smoke. I got on the train. The train was really cool. It was a Chinese train, not the Russian. The Chinese train is better. And then there wasn't no clackety clack. It was electrically powered, and cruise across the frozen tundra. When we got to Ulaanbaatar, it was not our intention really to go there, but we got off anyway, and it was cold as a motor. And we met a guy named Mondufu. Mondufu was on the train with us. Mondufu is an actor. He's Chinese Mongolian. Good-looking man. Had a nice-looking lady with him. And Mondufu took us to a big, crude-looking apartment complex. Nice inside. And believe it or not, as we sat and, had a few beers and shit, they had Rambo, that Sylvester Stallone, the dildo, on TV. They thought as American we'd like to watch Rambo. Not a chance, fools. So we stuck in Ulaanbaatar for a week. It was hard to get out. And we finally got our visas, went to the Chinese border, and I bought a couple cartons of Marlboro. That was the United States when Russia was suffering. And the United States sent 2 billion cigarettes to Russia. Wink, wink. Who paid for that? You did. I did. That was a big kiss ass to Reynolds and Winston-Salem Cigarette Company. Okay, I'm getting off the point. The point to be made here is simply follow the money. When you want to know what's going on, don't jump on the bandwagon. I've done it before. That's a mistake. Be insightful. Just think who profits from this and who loses. Of course, the Somalis are losing. They deserve it. Come on, a country with main industries hijacking oil tankers. What did you expect, Tim Walz, you freaking fag? And the mayor of Somalia, a mayor of Minneapolis. What a dildo. Oh, he's speaking Somalian. Everybody in Minnesota, Omar and Walz and the mayor of Minneapolis, all they want is Somali money. That's why they changed. Come on, changing the Minnesota flag to make it look more Somalian. There's probably 11 million people in Minnesota. Did you ask them? Fuck no, you didn't. You're just a scurvy kiss ass. Walz should be impeached, and Omar should be tried for treason. Maybe Walz too. Okay, this is going way too long. I got food on the stove. So once again, Patrick Young, Fresno, California. I ain't got no dramatic backdrop, no cool microphone hanging from the thing. I'm just sitting in my kitchen. So everybody, goodbye. Oh, I'm also a duck farmer. I have 24 ducks. I got Claudette in the bathroom because she got a broken leg, and 14 chickens. I'm a professional mechanic. I consider myself, so I can prove it. I've owned 85 buses, trucks, and fire trucks. My favorite bus is Gillig. My favorite truck is Ford, big Fords. Crowns suck. International Harvester is the best inexpensive bus. Get away from your Bluebirds and Thompsons. You're give me a fucking break. I ran Cummins, Detroit, Cummins 180, 190, 195. I have triple nickel, that's 555. Mostly 220s. That is a 6-cylinder, 743 cubic inches. If you turbo it, it's I think a 243. You bump the horsepower by throwing a blower on it. I have no reason to deceive anyone. I've been working my entire life to help people in situations of poverty and injustice, usually fueled by U.S. interests. One time, my wife and I, we got stuck somewhere. Let me turn the stove off real quick. Oh, fuck, I'll do it later. One time, my wife and I, we were trying to get a pass to go somewhere. And so we took the bus to Tegucigalpa, small Tegucigalpa, on the Guatemalan border. They let us cross, but we thought there'd be transportation. Hell no. We had to walk across a flooded marshland for probably 10 miles. Oh, it was miserable. We walked through the Chiquita banana plantations. Didn't eat no bananas. Finally got the railroad tracks, and a guy had a set of trucks, piece of plywood on it. So he put all of our baggage, us and three Honduran women. We threw all of our baggage onto the primitive cart. We pushed it. You push it as hard as you can, as fast as you can. You get momentum for about 200 yards. And then I was pushing because the women were lazy. Only me and the guy pushed. And I was pushing it with my best force. And we hit a bridge. And the bridge was unsupported ties with no gravel beneath them. And I pushed real hard, stumbled, and broke my big ass toe. I mean, it hurt, good Lord. So we got to the Guatemalan town, of which I forget. I went to customs, Guatemala, the next day. I said, man, I crossed the border illegally. And they saw my broken toe and they just laughed. I taped a cigarette butt between my toe and my ring toe. And I still have a curvy toe to this day. Okay, this is definitely a ramble. So, the moral of the story is fight corruption. Right now, I'm being persecuted by a shrew radical leftist judge named Stephanie Nagin. Fuck you. I've had a couple of strokes this year, and Judge Nagin has put me in jail a couple times. And her reasoning is, you're in jail because you missed court dates. Well, my lawyer doesn't keep me informed, and I missed a court date because I was in the hospital. I called from the ambulance, said, I'm in way to the hospital. Boom, you're back in jail, motherfucker. The left has really turned to shit. I can't believe I'm quoting Trump, so I won't do it directly. But woke people are the scourge of the earth. Trust me, I am radical left. Been arrested at 2 Livermores after they build the triggers for nukes. 2 Diablo Canyons, large power plant. 1 Port Chicago, blockade weapon shipment to El Salvador. And one I forget. Port Chicago is where Vietnam veteran Brian Wilson lost his legs. He laid across tracks, trained over, and cut his fucking legs off. And the engineer sued Mr. Wilson. What a jerk off. All right, okay, goodbye for now. Goodbye and God bless and all that good shit. Patrick Young signing off from Fresno, California. I'm at 5205 East Washington. I'm not scared to put my address down. If you like, come on by. I'll pepper spray your ass, pop you in the face with. I got a high-powered pellet gun right over there. Shit, my kid's on fire. Give me a second. Okay, I'll close so I can turn the stove off.